Good morning, Paul.
How are you, Paul?
Thanks for coming on Radio 2BACR this morning. Now, Paul, are you still a boxer or you've turned book writer? What's going on?
Well, I've written a book, but I still box. I'm training a few guys. I've been writing this book for about 4 years, so it's nice to finally finished. Yeah.
That's great, Paul. You've just had the 2 pro fights, haven't you? Yeah. When you look like fighting again? Anytime soon, or you're too busy writing books?
Well, I've been talking with Nathan Swadling. He wants to get me on. Yeah, he is. He wants to get me on a fight in August, so just sort of going through that. And
okay.
We'll just see how the body's feeling, and I feel good at the moment. It's been a good little break I've had, but
Now how long ago did you get into boxing? You had an amateur career first.
Yeah, I started 2005. I think it was the first time I went to the gym at Toughen Up at Peter Halleck's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Newcastle. Peter used to work with my dad. I think back in the 70s or the 80s.
Another good guy.
Yeah, Pete's a good guy. Yeah, I had my first couple of fights about 2006, and I took a little bit of a break. I did a bit of jiu-jitsu for a while, and then came back to the boxing 2009 or 2010, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Had about 20 amateur fights all up.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And you got into boxing. You got the urge, and just 4 years ago you started writing this book. Who's the book on?
It's on Jack Carroll.
Carroll.
The great welterweight from the 1930s, who no one in Australia seems to know about, but at the time he was fighting, he was the second most popular athlete in Australia behind Don Bradman.
Wow. Was he really?
Yeah, he was.
Wow, well, I didn't know that. Jeez.
Yeah, well, the Australian people loved him. He was fighting in front of 30,000 people during the Depression.
Yeah, see, I know what the name, because my old trainer, Freddie Braddock, could bring all these old fighters' names up when I was being trained by him back in the day. So that's how I found out about Jack Carroll, and you read books and all that about him, and now you've written a book, mate. I can't wait to get my hands on it, knowing the fact that I know you, and you've started on this book 4 years ago, mate. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'll make sure I get you a signed copy.
Mate, is it going to be a bestseller in the news agencies and bookstores, you think?
Oh, it's 500,000th bestseller of all time on Amazon at the moment. So
really,
it's getting up there.
And how much time? The last 4 years you started on the book. How much time a day are you spending on the book?
It's not like I've been actively writing for 4 years. It's sort of been work solidly for a couple of months at a time, and then I'd take a break, and then I'd get back to it.
Okay.
From about December last year, I really got on a roll with it, and I finished it about February, and I was doing probably 8 hours of writing some days.
Good on you.
On top of my work and training and everything else, and I got it all finished, and now it's out on Monday.
Yeah, well, good on you. When you say it's out, you'll be able to buy it in bookstores, Paul?
Bookstores have got to contact me to distribute it, but it's available online. So
okay.
They put an order. If you go to Booktopia or Amazon or Book Depository, any of the big sites like that, it'll be available there.
Okay, got a couple of questions about Jack Carroll. Are you ready for him?
I'm ready.
Got about 3 or 4. Why was he so reluctant to go outside Australia and New Zealand for a bout?
Well, he had one trip to New Zealand, and he was a bad traveller. He apparently spent the 4-day journey to New Zealand. Like, it's not like today where you can just get a flight there. He had to take the boat.
Yeah, okay, didn't like travelling.
He'd spent the whole 4 days vomiting, apparently, and his first fight off the boat, he lost to a man who he then beat twice rather easily in the rematch. And the other reason was he was loyal to his family and his promoter. His promoter, Charles Lucas, sort of made Carroll into the big draw card that he was.
Yeah.
And Carroll would have had to leave him to fight in America.
Yeah.
The welterweight champion at the time was Barney Ross, and his camp requested the equivalent of about 10 years' salary, and they wanted it deposited in the bank before they left America to fight him.
God,
so Carroll it was sort of out of spite, but he requested a large sum before he'd travel to Australia, and he wanted it deposited in his bank because he was making close to a year's salary every time he fought towards the end of his career.
Yeah, wow, geez, that's interesting stuff. People don't know about. Wow. Okay. Next question. Can you name a few great Aussies that would have suited Carroll for a brilliant matchup?
Well, it's hard to say. You've got the 24-hour weigh-ins today and the 12-hour weigh-ins before. Carroll used to make welterweight at 2 p.m. and then he'd be fighting at 8 p.m. So it's like an amateur fight these days in terms of the weigh-in.
It's 24 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, Carroll would fight anyone. He called out the Australian heavyweight champion Ambrose Palmer for a fight at one point.
Did he? Jeez.
Yeah. We had two great welterweights in the era after him, Tommy Burns and George Barnes, and they were fantastic fighters, but Carroll was truly one of the best in the world. And Dave Sands, I think, is a good matchup, because Carroll fought quite a few middleweights, and that would have been an interesting fight.
It sure would have.
And I think Hector Thompson's a good one, because he made... I think they had the 8 a.m. weigh-in when he was fighting, and so he would have been about Carroll's size, so that would have been a really good fight.
Yeah, right.
His style was the style that used to give Carroll the most trouble, so I think Thompson and Carroll would have been a great fight.
Yeah, wow. Okay, moving on to the next question. He was such a quiet and reserved fighter. Has this impacted on his legacy?
Yeah, definitely. He sort of refereed and trained a bit after he retired, but he always stayed out of the spotlight. He just didn't like people fussing about him too much, and you get the most common boxing stories are the rags to riches, or the stories with that element of tragedy to them, and Carroll's isn't really one of those, but that era of Australian boxing was arguably our greatest, and I think Carroll's at least worthy of a mention when you talk about who Australia's greatest boxers are.
He sure is. Well, just the fact that he'd fight anybody, and he's called out Ambrose Palmer, you know, it just goes to show you what sort of fighter, what sort of guy he was. He wanted to fight, didn't he?
He did. Well, Palmer publicly said, I don't want to fight him because there's nothing for me to gain if I beat him. He said, I'm meant to beat him, and if Carroll makes me look stupid, it's going to kill my draw card.
That's what he said, eh? Okay.
Yeah, he said it in the newspaper.
Yeah, right. Jeez. How good's that?
That shows you what sort of class Carroll was in.
Yeah, he sure was. Last question, mate. Any funny anecdotes regarding Jack Carroll?
I think my favourite story about him's after the Izzy Janazzo fight, which is one of the last fights in his career and one of his biggest wins. I think it really sums up who Carroll was as a person. Janazzo a year before had challenged Barney Ross for the title and lost, and then he came out to Australia and Carroll beat him more easy than Ross did.
Yeah, right.
And the fight was just before Christmas, and the next day the reporters are trying to find Carroll to interview him, and he's nowhere to be found. And then they came across him in Leichhardt shops. And he's shopping for Christmas presents for his kids.
Yeah, how good's that?
They're all asking him about the fight, and he's just got one-word answers to their questions. But as soon as someone asked him about what he'd bought his kids, he lit right up, and they got more reaction quotes about the presents he bought his kids than the actual fight.
Oh, that's funny. Sounds like a sort of a Rocky, like a Rocky story, doesn't he, mate?
He is. He was just a battler from the Depression, and I think that's why the Australian people loved him so much. He was just an average guy who he worked full time, and he was one of the best boxers in the world in probably the toughest era of boxing. Yeah, geez.
Well, back in the day there, I mean, his career has spanned from what years was his career from, mate?
1923 was his first fight, and he retired early 1938.
Yeah, right, because I'm just looking at his... I just got his record up. I didn't know this, Paul. He had 84 professional bouts.
Those are his wins, and I think there's actually more there. There's a lot of fights that...
Well, he lost 10,
sorry. In the archives.
He lost 10, and he's at 84. He's won 39 by KO. It says here he lost 10 and he drew 4.
Yeah, and there's 2 no contests on there, but they 98. Think there's a few... Carroll claimed he had 112 or 109.
Okay.
So there's a few missing fights on there.
Right. Geez, what a record that. It's a lot of fights, isn't it?
And you look at the last half of his career, his last loss was to Fred Henneberry, who was a world-class middleweight.
He sure was. I've heard stories about him as well.
The book's got a biography on Henneberry and Richards, and it talks about the fights those two had, which they had 10 fights, and 6 of them ended in disqualifications.
Yeah, geez, eh? Bloody unbelievable.
It was a different world back then. You get the two best middleweights in the country fighting 10 times in 8 years, and today it's hard to match them up once.
Yeah, it sure is. Well, very interesting, Paul, mate? I've got to say that is very interesting. Good luck with the book, And
thank you,
mate. You're doing a great job, and good luck in your next bout, mate. When you have it, again.
If I have it, well.
What do you mean if you have it, Paul? You're either having it or you're not, or you're too busy with this book, aren't you?
Well, if I've got time to put a bout together, I'll definitely have another one.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Well, look, Paul, thanks for coming on Radio 2BACR. Very interesting conversation, that one.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Paul.
Oh, pleasure, mate. A pleasure. Anytime, Paul.
All right, talk to you soon.
See you, mate. Bye for now.
Bye.
And that was Paul Cupitt doing a good job on that book there. Look, don't go away. We're going to be back with